You looking at a young black king.
Astro project blast of attack past your neck with the shit to leave a rapper and Rex from the back of a black Acura. Bullet ricocheted and it's waved and it passed through your pecs. The assassin wet. All y'all know y'all don't have to go. Sawed off shoddy, make you potty, probably call the law. Me no gangster, I'm no tough, got me child of the most high. I get on the mic and you go, bye-bye. Devil don't test me, I throw shrapnel where your chest be. Shooting our family down in the streets, fuck the police, they ain't marching for me. Pull up, not that Rari, I ain't bad yet. I pull up, out that 85% of mass at. I put this on God, bad black is so hard. Bitch, I'm going back to Harlem in my West African garb.
Man, what it do, man? Peace to everybody tuning into the Masawari Clan YouTube channel. Lafayette, Jama and Boca, ETM Hotel. It's your boy Sean. Peace and Black African Power, Soul Grease, and all of that. See, the title of the show is my bad. I just wanted to check and see if everything was audio up. You see the title of the show. So I'm out here to prove Ankh wrong, right? I'm about to prove him wrong. So come on in the building, like the show, share the show, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to prove Ankh wrong, right? Demonstration beat conversation. So hit the like button, pull up a chair. If you're hungry, go get your food. Whatever you're going to do. If you're a troll, you're getting booted. We already got one troll, so. Told you. Look. He just saying he don't even know what's up. You don't even know I'm proving wrong about, but you on him already. Let me see. Yeah, I'm blocking it. I'm blocking it. The bot is gone. The bot is out of here. But man, how y'all doing tonight, man? I'm gonna wait for a couple of people to come in and then we're gonna get going. You know what I'm saying? But while we're Nah. I don't know about that, Marco. I don't know about that. You got to know what I'm beating them up on first before you deal with that. All right, so y'all know I had a brother on here the other day, right? We got him in late. Your name was William, right? And he be on Facebook. He be doing live streams and stuff like that. And at first, I didn't know until, you know what I'm saying, he said check him out on Facebook. So I went to go check the brother out on Facebook and see what he had going on, you know, on and on and on and on. So I wanted to see what he had up, you know, and kind of deal with some things. But before I do all of that, I want to prove Ankh wrong. Let me share my screen. So my dear good sister sent me this video and was like, have you seen this craziness? The name of the video was Water Test Positive for COVID. It's the name of the video. So without getting this whole What's this? Oh, a whole bunch of pseudoisms. Okay, all right. So without getting a strike or anything for the pseudoisms, this video hints at testing the water and doing some type of test on the water, right? Using the PCR test or whatnot, or what would look like a PCR test to test the water. So I just wanted y'all to see that first. All right. So here go your article that knocks it down. Okay, it was published on December the 8th. Fact check: is tap water testing positive for COVID? All right, so there's a viral tweet. Tap water testing positive for COVID. The political fact check ruling is false. The video shows a man unwrapping a rapid COVID test, applying a few drops of tap water, and waiting on a portion of the device slowly turns pink. A line forms next to the C on the test, and the portion above it turns darker shade of pink. There is no narration on the video, but some users on social media have been posting that it shows that tap water is testing positive for COVID. Now, in a tweet on December 5th, Canadian doctor wrote, tap water testing positive for COVID. Rapid antigen tests should be recalled immediately. Asymptomatic testing for respiratory virus is no proven benefit, but leads to lost income, lost job, and even incarceration of you and your loved ones in voluntary isolation sites. Now, however, Abbott Laboratories, the company that makes the test in the video, said the rapid test device shown in the video was not designed to be used with liquids. Meanwhile, the doctor who wrote the tweet was recently accused by health authorities in Canada of spreading misinformation. So the fact check uh, went on to continue to label Dr. Patrick Phillips, who wrote the tweet was called incompetent in September by our College of Physicians and Surgeons in Ontario, which accused him of spreading misinformation about the pandemic, according to the CBC. Now, that's the, you know how we got CDC, they got CBC, Canada. All right, so the group barred Phillips from providing people exemptions for masks, COVID-19 vaccines, and testing, and from prescribing certain drugs like ivermectin to treat the virus, the CBC reported. The video has been making around social media since June. And it has been debunked by fact checkers. So Abbott spokesman said in the email to Political Fact on the 6th of December that its device is not meant to be used with water or other liquids. All right. Now, I'm not going to bore y'all to death with continuing to read it, but that's been debunked. All right. So here you go again. Just so you know, this is the video right here that I showed you. Oops, my bad. This is the video right here that was sent to me. Here's the video claim right here so people can know. And, you know, look at the date on this article, May 2nd, 2021. It is December. It's damn near January. And this video is still making rounds and people are still sending this out and acting like this is true. See, 2-minute video I just showed you. Voila, voila, right? It's fake news. Fake news all the way. So it was already one strike against it. Now it's the other strike against it. Okay? So just so people know that water cannot transmit COVID-19. It's a myth. So we ain't got to spend a lot of time on that. It is what it is. However, what we're going to spend some time on is our dear brother. Let me prove Unc wrong. We're going to spend some time on our dear brother that came on the show the other day, Brother William Rowell. Brother William, he looked frustrated right here in this video, man. Brother Will, what's going on with you, bro? If you tuned in. Man, what's going on, man? Let me know what's up. Listen, I don't know what Chavis, Sutek, Black Panther, I don't know what none of them are. It's just me by myself as usual, and they don't rock with my streams. You feel me? But you see me on theirs every day. You see what I'm saying? You see, I'm on my own on this one. I gotta monitor the chat and do the stream. No help. It's all good. But let's see what our brother Will talking about here, man. I think he bringing up COVID, and I hope he doing all right.
All right, good early afternoon, everybody. It's a few days before Christmas, and if you guys are out, please be careful. Excuse me. I'm going to do a few posts for the next couple of days, and then I'm going to do one last post so that I can take off to take care of some personal matters. If you all have been watching these videos, I don't care if you agree or disagree. I want everybody to realize that I'm doing this because I believe I'm doing my great work. I believe that I'm doing my God work. Whatever indifferences that we may have about what's going on with this planet that we're on, I ask everybody to see the bigger picture. I ask for the adults to start being more grown up in their decisions. If you are a parent, get out of your own way and see the bigger picture when it comes to your children, to your families. But I leave you with this statement. I can only do so much as a person who is trying to do a divine work. I put posts out here for people to pay attention and to do their own research. You can't depend on somebody to be there for you all the time. I'm exhausted. And I'm taking some advice that I should have taken a long time ago, and that's take some time off. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm just exhausted. There are too many people on this line that watch these videos, that send me these messages, and then you turn around and you do the same thing over again, and you're asking me the same questions that you asked 2 and 5 months ago. This is not a complaint. And before you judge, please do something that a lot of people don't do because of ego. Just listen. Too many of you all is catching this virus that big up my post, that has been given messages. And then when I ask you all what you all have done, and you tell me you haven't done anything, it drains me. You can't save everybody, but truly, common sense ain't common. If you're going to ask for the advice, and I'm saying this without being egotistical, because I don't want this to be taken as a form of me being egotistical. Even I can catch it. But if you have the instruments to keep you safe, use it. If you have the instruments to keep you safe, use them. I don't want to hear about anybody dying. Anybody who watches these videos should know that this is not a game. Whether or not you disagree, If you haven't come up with a better solution and can show proof, shut up. But if you got the information that you didn't pay for, don't you understand that this is the Most High's work? The Most High is giving you a blessing. You may not need this right now, but later on, at least you have the information. If you go get the shot, it does not mean that you cannot catch this. It means that you still have to take precaution. You cannot go back to what you were originally doing. Anybody that tells you that they are playing with your life, they do not know you. They do not care about you. I care. I don't want to get sick. I care. I do not want to get sick. I'm in a more I'm in a different position where even though you guys see that I'm, getting better, I got personal things that I want to accomplish in my life too. I want to live. And I do not want my life cut off because someone did something without thinking about their actions. Everybody needs to take serious action in taking this information seriously. To my biker community, I've given you all more than enough. A whole entire year, almost 2 years now. There's no excuses. I have given stuff out for free. To hear a person going through the same nonsense when I've given you this information is draining. I'm going to continue teaching what I know, but I got a life too. And we get tired. Please, please, please stop taking this for a game. Stop taking this for a game. That shot is only one step. That is not the all in all.
All right. It's not a shot, it's a vaccine. And the vaccine is the most important step. The second step would be continuing to wash your hands, practicing social distancing, and wearing a mask. Now, the reason that we need to continue to wear a mask is because the amount of the population that isn't vaccinated and the spread of this virus, I'm gonna get to the other stuff, but this virus is still adapting and mutating, and different variants are emerging, and they're becoming variants of concern, and it's becoming more infectious. Well, I would say yes, it's becoming more infectious, but not severe like before. And we shouldn't compare Omicron to Delta. It should be compared more to Alpha, like before Delta, because we have a vaccine now, right? And the reason that we are not seeing this big outbreak like we seen with Alpha and we seen with Delta is because of the vaccination rates. So this whole notion of hospitalizations is being curbed because of the vaccine. Now, more data will come out to confirm that, But the way that it is looking right now, that is the case. This is why we're not seeing huge waves. However, we are seeing high infection rates and cases of breakthrough infection. Now, there's some positiveness that comes out of a breakthrough infection for fully vaccinated people. There are studies being done now showing some type of super immunity being, your immune system is gaining uh, due to these breakthroughs. However, you're still clearing the virus faster than unvaccinated people, and the risk of hospitalization is less. Even in Omicron, hospitalizations around, depending on, let's just deal with Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, and AstraZeneca. The hospitalization rate's around 80%. But of course, you already know with the Moderna, the hospitalizations is going to increase. So when we look at the actual arguments and dealing with the science, right? This brother says he's been doing this stuff for a whole year. He's exhausted and needs to take a break. Brother William, I feel for you. I think a lot of people get there, have been there in that same feeling before. However, we kind of been on this since not 19, I'm tripping. Since 2017. Yeah, I'm gonna say around 27. Well, let's just no, not 2017. Let's just say 2019. 2019 for sure. Early 2019 in April. Um, so for 2 years, going on 3 now, we've been putting in work regarding vaccine science, and the whole thing about understanding viruses and the immune system and so forth. And we still continue to learn more things every day to sharpen our swords and to make sure that our people have the correct information. Now, I do have one gripe. If you tell people to go research something on their own, those people are not going to do that. Instead, they're going to act like the person in your comment on your video while you were talking, and ignore the data and come up with all of these falsifications. And I'm going to show the comments for the listening audience, but however, I did want to get into some of your arguments here. So, the reason people can't go on about their normal lives is because of the population. It's only 61% of the people fully vaccinated. Now, it may increase, but only 61%. And then it's much lower for people that have received their booster shots, which is okay because the vaccines are working against all variants, right? But you'll just see more breakthrough cases because the vaccine wasn't designed to prevent infection. If it prevents infection, that is a bonus for vaccines and vaccine makers. The trials were not set up to prevent the spread, the infectious rate. It was set up to prevent the spread of infectious disease, hospitalizations, and death. That's what it was designed to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, if it stops you from getting infected, that's a plus. That's bonus, right? Because you're still infected with other respiratory viruses. However, you don't know which virus you've been infected with because the symptoms have been reduced down to that of a common cold. So you'd be like, man, I just got a cold today. That's still a virus. It's still a virus. Now, the symptoms may be very similar to, like a cold or what most people say flu-like symptoms. That's a virus. You can be sick, go get tested, and they say this ain't the flu. They do a flu test on you and they don't come up with the flu. And then they turn around and say it's something else. You'll be shocked. So the whole it was 2018. You're right, Zane. 2018. But this whole notion of trusting these people to go do the research, brother, that ain't gonna happen. And saying, get the shot, if you get the shot, I'm glad that your stance has softened and you've changed your position. There's still more to actually hash out and get out of you. And I'm glad that you're saying things like you're trying to survive, but you are very susceptible to not survive in this pandemic. If you encounter the virus at some point and your symptoms are severe, it's going to attack you, brother. The vaccine will prevent the spread of infectious disease, hospitalizations, and death. Again, I'm going to continue to say that. So it's best to urge our people based on real science and information. I don't know what information you've been kicking wholeheartedly on your page for the whole year or sharing, but real scientific studies, right? These studies, which are critical in the middle of a pandemic, that's answering real research questions, not suggestions, not what I believe would happen, not some assumptive thought process. No, 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 none of that. We're talking about serious data, trials set up with age group differences, sex group differences, all of that. Like really getting into the heart of the people. This is a public health crisis. So yeah, we still have to take other measures right now, and that is because we have a large portion of our population, 100 million people, that are unvaccinated. And out of that 100 million people, we don't know how many of them are ignorant, right? Who have bought into the misinformation, disinformation campaigns that have been running rampant. But let's continue real quick.
In all, it ain't working. If you're gonna go and do the same stuff that you was doing before you got it.
I agree with him.
If you choose to take it or not, it's not about being judgmental. But you can do better with your eating. You can do better with your eating. I had a conversation about natural alternatives don't work. Here's my answer to that. Bullshit. Because I'm in the trenches.
William, you was just on this panel the other day, and we specifically walked through an article that told you that natural stuff ain't working. You said bullshit. You can't demonstrate that. You're going to say that you cured some people. You never did blood work. So how could you say that something natural worked if you don't have any type of study to support that? If you had a group of 63 people that you claimed you cured or treated their symptoms, treating someone's symptoms is different than curing someone, right? You're ailing symptoms. I need for you to come clean. The gig is up. The naturopathy lifestyle is only good at, right? This is what it's good for, right? Dieting purposes. The whole natural thing is about dieting, right? Helping the overweight lose weight and staying on course. You know what I mean? Promoting a healthier lifestyle, healthier living, exercising, dieting, taking your supplements, all of those things that that help you. That's it. It doesn't fight pathogens. It doesn't stop the spread of disease. It doesn't train your immune system to be proactive. It doesn't do none of those things. So this whole notion of bullshit, as you said, show and prove it. Demonstration beats conversation. Go get you 60 people. Go get those same 63 people and go do blood work on all 63 and let's see what the outcome is.
Y'all in the laboratory. After I've looked at that, I realized just how egotistical you degree holding individuals are. Get out here in the trenches. Get out here in the trenches and see it for yourself. All you want to do is make a person look bad because they don't know what you know. Shame on you.
That's actually incorrect. And I'm gonna defend the people that's working in the lab. This whole pandemic, they did a very good job at stepping up in the forefront to fight misinformation and disinformation, and they didn't talk down to people. Maybe me and Unc did, but the community in which is serving the scientific community, which has been spearheading this entire pandemic, they haven't talked down on people. They actually have talked over people. I would say that because of the jargon, they don't know how to speak to the layman, and therefore that is why I asked you to get or purchase the book "What SARS-CoV-2 Taught Me," is because it is a great attempt at bridging the gap between the scientific community or the scientist and the layman. And it could help. It's a tool that we could use to help us understand the basics of things and then build on that basics if we're interested, or stay at that basic level to where we have a broad understanding of what's actually transpiring among us, but also help us be able to articulate the data.
I'm more braver than a lot of you so-called scientists with all these degrees because I'm out here seeing it firsthand. Y'all sitting in a school being ego.
William, I'm going to say that you're incorrect again, because these same people that you're saying that are sitting in a lab, they're working to resolve the issue. You say that you're in the trenches, but you don't have a viable solution to anyone. You said you cured 63 people. We haven't seen that data. There's no test, there's no blood work, there's no evidence. It's anecdotal. You prescribed some stuff to some people and they symptoms got better due to time, but they may have been asymptomatic and was going to resolve anyway. You may have sped it up a day. Whoop-de-doo. That didn't mean that you stopped COVID. That just means some of the symptoms, you help them treat some of the symptoms, like that little runny nose, that little cough, a little, offbeat breathing, but you didn't stop the heart problem that they had where their heart beat irregularly, or brain fog. You didn't stop that. You didn't stop COVID tongue, because these people don't even know that they got COVID tongue, or little rashes on their skin. You didn't know that. What about their eyesight? You don't know if their eyesight or hearing is gone bad. You don't know if their lungs are damaged, right? You don't know if their lungs have ravaged from the spread of the disease within the first few days. None of that. So you can't say you're in the trenches. With who? With who? They're doing the work to answer real world questions, bro. They can't come out. And when they do come out, you don't even know who they are when they come out. So you wouldn't know who these people are that's in the lab. You only see the people that they let you see that come out on TV. These other people are answering questions in the real world.
Egotistical. For those who disagree with Dr. Saban, Okay, here's my answer. Here's my question to you all.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Come up with a full plan program to help fight this without the shot.
Oh, William, did you really just say that, bro? Did you really tell people that don't support Dr. Sabi to come up with a plan without the shot? Are you freaking serious? The vaccine is the biggest solution, the easiest way to prevent the spread of infectious disease, hospitalizations, and death, my brother. What are you talking about? Why would we devise a plan that would leave that critical piece of evidence out? Let me show you what the vaccine has done, and then I'm going to show you what your thought has done. The vaccine has prevented 99.98% of deaths and hospitalizations. What Dr. Sabi did, or some type of design plan, none. He ain't did none of that. None. When people are messed up, stretched up in the hospital, getting ready to die on ECMO machines, that Dr. Sabi shit ain't flying, bro. That Dr. Sabi junk ain't did nothing. Fasting and trying to alkaline. No. Come on, bro. The basis of Sabi's whole argument is around alkalinity. We walked through that the other day. Why would you bring that back up, bro? You was just educated on that. You have a belief, and it's okay. I understand. You can't let the belief go because you feel like this belief has helped you. But you also stated that in that belief, you've also been going to the hospital, and the hospital has helped you. You don't say no to the hospital. So the science is working cohesively with whatever you're doing. But if you continue to do it and you do something wrong or you slip up wrong, that in which what you're doing is going to harm you. And then the science is going to have to save you. I'm going to say that again. That which what you're doing, if you slip up, can harm you. And then science is going to have to save you. So you got to understand the element that you're in right now, bro. I see it in your eyes. You want to hold on to it with no evidence. You want to hold on to Dr. Sabi with no evidence, bro. Dr. Sabi should be accredited with making us more health conscious, but not healthier. Because there were some people who did his diet, damn near died, and some that did. And people were blaming him for that. Michael Jackson, Alfonso, Bowman, Dr. Sabi, he was helping or aiding and assisting him. But Michael Jackson says, I'm not paying you. You weren't even doing anything. None of this stuff that you were doing was actually working or treating or preventing anything. This situation still was getting worse. Your treatments failed, brother. I'm not paying you nothing. So he wanted to sue Michael Jackson. And he wanted to sue Magic Johnson. So what actually happened, Mr. Bowman? Nothing. Bro, you just made people health conscious, and we wish you well on your, we wish you well as an ancestor, and it's not to uh, smut your name or anything like that. You can't defend anything, but if you could defend yourself right now, all you would be doing is talking because you don't have the laboratory work or you don't have the scientific data to actually stand on anything. So it is what it is. And your court case was to get you to stop saying that you was curing stuff that you didn't cure. You didn't win it. They just told you you can't go around saying this, that, and the third, and you couldn't practice none of the stuff that you was doing in the country. Therefore, that's why you still your products is coming out of certain other places, and Honduras was your base location. Like, we really have to stop lying to ourselves. So back to this plan that you're talking about, William. I don't need no Most High. I need science. I'm going to answer this with science. This is what you do. You're going to need the vaccine. Full dosage. 1 shot, 2 shot. Majority boosters. If you're over the age of 50, boosters. If it's been a while since you had a vaccination, you might want to get a booster. It ain't gonna harm you to get a booster shot. I ain't gonna argue with nobody that want to get a booster shot. If you want to wait and see what this other science says, then you can wait and see what the other science says, because they're doing tests right now. But what we don't need to do is fear breakthrough infection, because breakthrough infections naturally happen and you're vaccinated. You still have a level of protection that will stop it from spreading infectious disease, and it will prevent you from being hospitalized. Now, when the vaccine efficacy against hospitalizations and deaths go below 80%, then you know, hey, what? We need to tweak things, and we may need to get a booster. But as long as they're at 99%, 98, 99%, no. I'm cool. I'm cool. But we still do need to wear our mask. We still do need to practice social distancing. And we still do need to get the 100 million people that aren't vaccinated. We need to get about 80 million of that 100 million vaccinated, because that's going to help us be able to turn the corner and get into an endemic. Or we're going to stay in a pandemic for another 2 years, and we're going to have more variants of concern. And this time, we don't know if those variants of concern would be more dangerous than Delta, more infectious than Omicron, and more severe than as if we've never had a vaccine.
And be brave enough to put it out here on Facebook, like I did. And like
what you did on Facebook was make a goddamn fool of yourself, William. I seen 2 of your videos, and I didn't want to argue with you or bring you up on here or anything like that. You really made a fool of yourself, thinking that what you put on Facebook will work. Those things that you promoted does not prevent anyone from being for catching COVID, 1, or treating symptoms, 2, because you might have a couple of herbs that focus on cough and a runny nose and watery eyes or some type of allergies, right? But you haven't treated a single person that had severe COVID, not a one. Not a single one. So they were all asymptomatic response cases with small symptoms that they could recognize, and you helped ail some of those symptoms, but you never got to the root of the problem, and that is stopping the spread of the infectious disease, because you don't know how much of a viral load someone has in them. You didn't measure that. But I'm going to let you continue, because I'm going to prove wrong in a second.
So there's others that are doing it. I'm not afraid of this. I'm God body all day.
Yeah, you are. Look at your face. Look at your face. You scared. You just said you ain't want to die from it.
And I've been rewarded by surviving something that could have killed me. And I take the time to teach people, don't make the mistake that I made. If you are one that is about promoting this shot, tell everything. Don't leave nothing out. And then answer this question. In 7 days, how do you help a person that caught this. You tell them. Don't tell me about no data. I respect it. But don't sit up here and just talk about data. And I ain't mention names because to the person I'm talking to, I got nothing but love for you. You my family, and I love y'all. But I don't want to hear about no more data. Because the data ain't showing in visual context when a woman who sat up here and wanted to get married is having sterilization problems. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to find every reason except that. Because it took that to expose it. Instead of making people who want to practice holistic ways, making it look like we don't know what we're talking about and we always wrong.
I don't think you do.
Come up with a plan and show people in 7 days how to get this shit out of their system.
How you gonna get rid of something in 7 days, bro? The vaccine clears the virus within 3 days. So if you take the vaccine, you will clear the virus in 3 days. I don't need 7. Boom. If you're vaccinated and you get a breakthrough infection, you clear the virus within 3 days. Problem solved. Let me go back a little bit since you want to pump your chest. Let me hear what you said again. Say it again. Say it again, William.
Help a person that caught this.
If they caught it, listen to the ignorance, bro. If they caught it, it's too late. They caught it. They already got it. They got it, William. Do you understand what you're saying? They got it. But you know what science has done? They got antivirals for certain people that caught it. It's what happens after that. What happens? Is it severe? Is it asymptomatic? You're dealing with asymptomatic. You've seen some asymptomatic cases of COVID-19 and you think like, man, this ain't nothing. But you ain't seen them people on them ECMO machines, my guy. You haven't. And you asking us questions. Come up with a solution within 7 days. My guy, get the vaccine. You clear the virus within 2 to 3 days. You have some small symptoms. You know, you have a small reaction to it, like runny nose, maybe a headache, fever, you know, nothing too heavy, something that you brush off, but you clear the virus within 3 days and you back at it. You're back at it. And that's what the vaccine does. That's the greatest thing about the vaccine. But if you're unvaccinated, you got a whole 10-day bout. And your symptoms develop 48 hours after the infection. You don't even know you're infected at first until it starts beating you up. And then if you survive the fight, okay. If you have little symptoms, okay. But not everybody has little symptoms or survive the fight. It's 800,000 people dead.
You tell them. Don't tell me about no data. I respect it. But don't sit up here and just talk about data. And I ain't mention names because to the person I'm talking to, I got nothing but love for you. You my family, and I love y'all. But I don't want to hear about no more data. Because the data ain't showing in visual context when a woman who sat up here and wanted to get married is having sterilization problems.
That's a damn lie, bro. You made a freaking, that's a lie, bro. You said you don't want to name names or talk about data and all of that, but you just made a claim and you threw it out there like nobody know what you're talking about. So now that we know that you with the pseudoisms, William, I'm going to go ahead and box you up. Not one woman who's been vaccinated has been sterilized from the vaccine. Not one. Not a single one. You better go talk to OBGYNs. You better go deal with the prenatal people. Not a single female that has been vaccinated has been sterile. Not a male has been sterile. But you know who has been sterile? Unvaccinated people. Their sperm count low. Their dick don't even get hard. Excuse me, kids. My apologies. To all the children that are listening to this episode, this series, this show, I apologize for saying that, but you know what I'm saying. Erectile dysfunction is real, brother, and COVID infections. So for you to sit here and say somebody was infertility issues, my guy, you ain't even seen the evidence for that. So how can you say infertility, my guy? You do a lot of believing, not a lot of knowing. I'm going to say it again. William, you do a lot of believing and not a lot of knowing. This is the issue with you naturopaths. You don't have a solution. Your solution is, well, I'm just going to treat the symptoms. I want y'all to think about that. These people's solution is, I ain't scared of COVID. I catch it, I'm just going to treat the symptoms. But what if the symptoms is treating you and you can't even do nothing about it? Huh? You have comorbidities, my guy. You're immunocompromised. You had cancer. You're still recovering from that. You're still going through treatment from that. This can take you all the way out. And you running around here asking dumbass questions, talking about what's your solution after someone gets sick. It's too damn late. The vaccine prevents the spread of infectious disease, hospitalization, and death. It's the vaccine's job to train the immune system to protect itself against a novel pathogen. William, where you at? Chris, get your man in here. Get your man in here, yo. I was nice to him the other day, and I'm going to be nice to him again. Where is he at? Where he at? Go get him, yo. Get that man on the line. Because he done lost his rabbit ass mind. Let's hear him out. And then I'm going to run him back. No, let me run him back again and let him build. I'm going to run him back again.
By surviving something that could have killed me. And I take the time to teach people, don't make the mistake that I made. If you are one that is about promoting this shot, tell everything. Don't leave nothing out. And then answer this question. In 7 days, how do you help a person that caught this? You tell them. Don't tell me about no data. I respect it. But don't sit up here and just talk about data. And I ain't mention names because to the person I'm talking to, I got nothing but love for you. You my family, and I love y'all. But I don't want to hear about no more data. Because the data ain't showing in visual context when a woman who sat up here and wanted to get married is having sterilization problems. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to find every reason except that. Because it took that to expose it. Instead of making people who want to practice holistic ways, making it look like we don't know what we're talking about, and we always...
Y'all don't.
Do me a favor. Come up with a plan and show people in 7 days how to get this shit out of their system. I did it.
You ain't showing nobody, bro. You lying.
And I'm watching people get fucked up right now. Try not to cry about it. You scientists, shut the fuck up. Get out of here.
How you gonna tell them to? How you gonna tell them to shut up?
Because they dying. And y'all sitting there
Oh man.
fucking down.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh. William, are you serious right now? You don't think that these scientists are worried about these people? Remember, the only reason that you know people are dying is because of the scientists. They're working to prevent it. But you know why they're dying? Because your naturopathic ass is out there promoting something instead of the vaccine. So if they're dying today, the vaccine prevents that death. So while you're tearing up, had you been educated enough to tell these people, look, just go get vaccinated, but continue to do this, 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 and this, protect yourself, wash your hands, practice social distances, wear your mask, continue to be smart about it, still take your herbs, drink your tea, do this, that, and the third. That's what you do. That would be positive. But instead, it's what are you gonna do after I catch it? What are you gonna do to treat it? My guy, you freaking got it. So soon as you get it, their treatment is simple. They have antivirals for people who do it. They just did EUA on the pill. The pill is to stop the spread of the infectious disease, to treat some of the things that are happening to you. And then, you know what happens after you take the pill? They're going to tell you to go get vaccinated. Why the shit always comes back to go back and get vaccinated? So, my guy, William, these people dying, that blood on your hands. You saying you don't want to hear about data. We're in the middle of a pandemic, bro. All we need is data. The data determines if the vaccine is going to be good for us or not. Not our feelings, not our emotions, not no he say, she say, the evidence. Because the data equals evidence. You know the shit that you said you didn't want? I'm tired of data. That, William, that is the evidence that the vaccine works. That is the evidence to show that it is effective at preventing death. That is the evidence to show that it is effective at preventing hospitalizations. That is the evidence that can help curb the things that are happening to people. That is the evidence to stop the spread of infectious disease and limit the effectiveness of it in 2 to 3 days. That beats your 7 days. You said give you 7. I said get vaccinated and it'll give you 2 to 3 days. So go ahead and cry for me.
Y'all don't want to talk about detox and you gonna take a shot. Ain't doing shit. When 40 people that you know and love die from this shit, and you talking about a shot.
William, the shot prevents the death. If the people were vaccinated, they never die, bro. Crocodile tears. If I told you that this vaccine will save your life and you don't go do that, the onus is on your naturopathic ass, not the scientists. The vaccine prevents you from dying, bro. You talking about these people dying? The vaccine prevents that. Had they been vaccinated, they never die. You're making absolutely no sense.
Try not to cry about it. You scientists, shut the fuck up. Get out here and get in this field and help these people. Because they dying. And y'all sitting there talking about some fucking data. Y'all don't want to talk about detox and you gonna take a shot. Ain't
What the hell is detoxing gonna do? You just said these people dying. What the hell is detoxing gonna do? Detoxing is not preventing deaths. Detoxing is not preventing hospitalizations. Detoxing is not stopping the spread of infectious disease. The vaccine is. How do we know this? Data.
Because they dying. And y'all sitting there talking about some fucking data. Y'all don't want to talk about detoxing. You gonna take a shot. Ain't doing shit. When 40 people that you know and love die from this shit, and you talking about a shot.
Yep. The scientists in the lab are going to tell you to get vaccinated because they know that it's going to prevent those 40 people from dying. And hell no, they're not talking about detoxing. Because that's going to lead to the people dying. So hell yeah, William. They doing that, bro. It's unfortunate that you feel the way that you feel out of ignorance. And I'm saying ignorance, not in calling you stupid or dumb or anything like that, but not knowing is exactly what the word means. And because you don't know and you have a belief and you've already drawn a conclusion based on your belief, which is faulty as hell, you think that the vaccine can't prevent the deaths. Well, let me show you. At the height of the Delta variant, well, at the height of the Alpha variant, before the emergence of the Delta variant, we were seeing months where 100,000 people was dying. Early February, January, February. When we got to March, April, and May, the death toll curbed. Right before Delta, right before Delta comes in late June, July, early July, the death curve dropped. The infection rate dropped. And we still hadn't had enough people vaccinated. See, that's that data that you keep saying, oh, no damn data. That, no, my guy. I still respect you, bro. This is why I told you to get the book, bro. But that data that you're talking about is the data that's saving lives. How many detoxes out there saving lives? Find me the detox. Somebody in the chat. Anybody in the chat, look up a study that you can find online. I don't give a damn what the Google search is. Google how many deaths have detoxing prevented.
When it hits home, it's different. And I feel like I'm alone trying to help folks. People dying out here because y'all doing stupid shit.
Just get the vaccine.
We dying, y'all. We dying. And we letting these people fuck us up.
What people? I'm curious now. What people are fucking us up? I'm going to say you're part of those people. You're part of those people that are fucking us up. Your detoxing and your herbs aren't stopping death. This is proof. It's hitting home, bro. It's hitting home. Your stuff ain't working. It's people you know now that are dying. That you really thought that you was helping. And then you sitting over here on some, all they got is a vaccine. They're just going to tell you to take the vaccine. Absolutely, because it's preventing deaths. Duh. What's the safest way for a person to protect themselves? It ain't detoxing. See, y'all playing in the chat. I asked y'all to look up how many deaths detoxing start. How many deaths has detoxing prevented? There's people that die in the hospital from alcohol detoxification. There's people dying from alcohol withdrawal. There's health risk of detoxing. You know, like coma and relapse and all of that stuff. People suffer from things. There's something called death by detox. But I don't see detoxing saving lives. You can't find an actual source that would substantiate that detoxing will save lives. But damn, man, they out here. Who is they, bro? I need you to clear it up for me.
When it hits home, it's different. And I feel like I'm alone trying to help folks. People dying out here because y'all doing stupid shit. We dying, y'all. We dying. And we letting these people fuck us up.
Brother William, who is these people? Brother William, I know you're listening. Come on, y'all, hit the like button. Hit the like button. I ain't gonna say nothing else, man, so y'all can show me some love, man, and hit the like button. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. Come on now. We light on these likes, man. All these people listening, you know what I'm saying? Just hit the like button for your boy, man. Come on, man. 8 more people. Can I get 8 more likes? Can I get 8 more likes? Let's go.
The data ain't showing in visual context when a woman who sat up here and wanted to get married is having sterilization problems. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to find every reason except that. Because it took that to expose it.
And that is a lie.
Instead of making people who want to practice holistic ways, making it look like we don't know what we're talking about and we always wrong,
You are.
do me a favor. Come up with a plan and show people in 7 days how to get this shit out of their system. I did it. And I'm watching people get fucked up right now. Try not to cry about it. You scientists, shut the fuck up. Get out here and get in this field and help these people. Because they dying. And y'all sitting there talking about some fucking data. Y'all don't want to talk about detoxing. You gonna take a shot. Ain't doing shit. When 40 people that you know and love die from this shit, and you talking about a shot. When it hits home, it's different. And I feel like I'm alone trying to help folks. People dying out here. Because y'all doing stupid shit.
By not getting vaccinated.
We dying, y'all. We dying. And we letting these people fuck us up.
Yeah, you damn herbalist. You fucking us up. You damn herbalist, man. You're killing us. You want us to detox ourselves into death.
Y'all got the information. Just use it.
Use what information?
When it hits home.
Detoxing ain't helped us, bro. Detoxing ain't saved one person's life. Now that shit over with. Here goes some of the comments. It's only one person. All right. Get out here in the trenches. Thank you. The data is altered. You see what I'm saying? This is the stupid shit. The data is altered. This person asking if he had it. This person over here says, speak truth. It's only two person on the live. Comment. You only got 4 likes. You know what I'm saying? But he's been wrong. He's been wrong as hell. And I feel bad for him. You know what I'm saying? He's crying because he cares. You can't take that away from him. He's crying because he cares. But he just, he's got some bad information. So I'm going to prove Ankh wrong right here. I want to change subjects and get into something a little bit more educational, right? I feel bad that the brother doesn't trust the science. The science has saved more lives than his belief. But, okay, so Ankh put a post up today. The community is clearly confused. Let's do something about it. Good old-fashioned question and answer. Everyone is welcome to attend. Go in the comment section. What y'all think we're going to see? This guy never, ever, ever say anything, right? If we vaccinate the entire world today, the virus can mutate tomorrow and we could be right back to square one. He doesn't know how vaccines work. These vaccines are just clinical trial. He's, like I told you, he doesn't know how vaccines work. I'm going to just leave this right here. 302 new cases, 60 new not vaccinated. I don't even know what the hell this is. He just made this up. Some type of pseudo something. He ain't even fully understanding what he posted. Says, I bet 100% of these people against the vax been vaccinated at one point in their lives. You remember getting shots as a kid, right? So why Jet is on it. United Airlines has canceled more than 100 Christmas Eve flights because of the spike in COVID cases due to Omicron variant. People who have been vaccinated are still getting COVID. And this is the thing right here. She's supposed to work in the health field and she's ignorant. It's crazy. You on everybody post, you in everybody chat. You got so much to say to everybody about everything. And with all this data and information that we've kicked from channel to channel on the subject matter and the seriousness of what's going on, this is what the hell you continue to say. People who still been vaccinated are still getting it. You don't know that. Who? Show me. We don't even have a large portion of the population experiencing breakthrough infections. So you can't say that. The vaccine's not 100%. The vaccines wasn't even, this is what I mean by people's ignorance. The vaccines are not designed to stop infection. Why are you saying this, you silly woman? The vaccines ain't even designed to stop infections, bro. No, they don't create vaccines to stop infections. They create vaccines to stop the spread of infectious disease, hospitalization, and death, to prevent those things. If it stops infections, that's a bonus. Why are you still parroting stuff that we've answered to you, Mika, months ago? You slow. God dang, you're remedial, man. So when I'm setting out to prove Ankh wrong, he thinks that he could break through people like her. He does. He thinks that he's going to have a breakthrough moment and she's going to come, the light switch is going to go off in her head, and she's finally going to understand the data. She's finally going to understand what science has been saying for months. No, Ankh, you're wrong. This is just like the nurse in Philadelphia, whose name I will not say, Kim. Just like her, saying that she's a nurse and she has all that bad information, and people dying right in her face if she is a nurse. But she never would state what type of nurse she is. This is getting on my nerves. Let me continue. I told you I'm going to prove I'm wrong. He continues to think that these people are going to have a breakthrough moment in information, and it's going to allow them to get over the hump. What's up, Sister Ladosha? What's going on? Trump got the vaccine, but he said he wasn't gonna get the booster early on. He got 2 doses, but he doesn't have to tell anyone his status right now because he's not the sitting president. And on top of that, if he's got the booster shot, he don't want to tell people that. Hell, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wife is telling people they can't come to the Christmas party unless they've been vaccinated or had or been tested. So let's move on. Ankh says police gear. They wear bulletproof vests not because it's a force field or because it will stop them from getting shot, but because they are better protected if they do get shot. This is why we get vaccinated. Disinformation is dangerous. You have to agree with Ankh. Ray said he was gonna buy the book and then he was gonna critique it. He ain't got the book and he ain't critique nothing, but he'll continue to parrot misinformation. But here we go. It's finna get easy. So easy to understand. My wife and I have our shots. Yeah, we know you vaccinated, bro. Then he go to dude. He always call Ankh an agent. He always talking crazy to Ankh. But the boy is always under every post Ankh got. My health is 2, and I didn't get the jab. He says, I'm hoping it stays that way. Who else can I fight with like we do on Facebook? It's crazy. But 3 people liked it. That's how slow they are. Yep, just like condoms aren't 100% effective, but people still wear them for protection. Facts. Look at this dude. This is where it always gets left. That's right. And a crackhead and alcoholic can smoke crack and drink cheap whiskey all day long while taking COVID vaccine and be protected because the vaccine will strengthen their health. See how stupid? And they go back and forth, and I'm not finna get into all of that. CK, you in the chat. That's why you be having headaches. And then here you go again, his initial comment. I see your handlers put you back on them corners. See what I'm saying? Says, I gave the same example to my cousin a few months ago. The black man is telling us to get the jab while the white man is overturning mandatory vaccinations. Okay, see how stupid this person is? This person's stupid. He didn't even read this. Judge issues nationwide injunction against Biden's vaccination mandate for federal contractors. He's not even specific. Are you a federal contractor? Andre, are you? And then Isama, I don't know why they got something to say, but you don't even know why they're sharing it. This does not say the vaccine does or does not work or none of that. It's just specifically geared toward mandates. You see how they always change the topic? So Geechee says, could it be that the pink people want us jacked up so they poison the water with BS info because they know we black people love a good conspiracy theory? Mission accomplished. And then he says, it's apparent these Negroes sound smart to dumb mofos. I like that. Put a throwback picture up. This was in Nashville. Hold up real quick before I continue. Yeah, this right here, this was when One Mind was in Nashville. You see me right there. Dang. I forgot I was even in this picture. That's Dre, the Islamic barber. That's TJ, right? That's One Mind. That's one he be coming on preaching as him all the time. Yeah. Some of these people from around the city and stuff, they cool too. But yeah, that's the old me right there. With my backpack and my books in there. That's when Unc tried to act like he didn't know who I was at first. All right, so it says here, Unc, you're a good teacher, and I believe everything you teach, especially your teaching on YouTube with Sonetta. But on this vaccine deal you speak about, I can't accept. And then being them with the you're welcome for this. And then this fool, okay, LOL. If the vest alone had a chance of killing you, I bet they wouldn't wear it. Okay, I see where you're going. Vaccines don't have a chance in killing you. If it did, I guess you meant do. People like you would present evidence to us instead of just saying that. But the evidence to the contrary is staggering. Says I understand, but truthfully, they never know the true depth of the matter until a while after. Hence, all the late night commercials. Have you taken the Pfizer vaccine? This guy he doesn't know. So they go back and forth. And then he's calling his brother an agent now. I love government agents. That's their number one. Then we get some more funny ones. No, you sound foolish. It's made to stop a bullet, protect them. It's not made to lessen the blow. It's made to stop a bullet from penetrating. Your argument is flawed. This is how dumb this person is. He missed the whole thing. He says you try to word play, but we know you're not too smart. Bulletproof vest is not made to stop you from getting shot. This is how you try to play with words. It's made to stop a bullet from penetrating the vest. Nice try though. Dumb. Natural immunity is best. That's how dumb people are. Pianki tried to help him out. He says, hey, dumbass, natural immunity means you have to actually catch the live bug and fight it off. Vaccinations mean using the dead bug, trick your system into recognizing the live one in the future. Do some more research. Black people brought the science of inoculation to America, blah, blah, blah. All right, so somebody is trying to go in there and give them some information. You still getting shot. Got my jab, got my second jab, got my booster, test positive for COVID. You know, they gonna keep the memes. This boy here, he going at everybody. I feel bad for him. And of course, the dumbass who don't want to protect himself, but he want to be RBG, coon talk. See what I'm saying? Like, for real. Nah, informant talk is what you doing, my guy. And then he says, I can't believe all the good government ass niggas with this shit. See what I'm saying? This how Ankh roll. Listen. This dude put up a positive post to have a conversation about vaccines, to promote a conversation about vaccines, a question and answer. And ain't none of this stuff got anything to do with any of the questions that's in there. Look, just look. Let's go back. Look. Here's the flyer. Should the community trust vaccine science? Are they good for Black people? When and where? Even though the last one is about the vest, but what he's doing is trying to jog people's train of thought. Here's a series of 8 questions that will be a topic of conversation. Should the Black community trust Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok for their overall health of our community? Talking about there's going to be some book signings. There's going to be some members in there. There's going to be a whole lot of science here. 122:22. It's this craziness. It doesn't stop. That's old school, though. This picture old. That's the dude in the picture. All right, so Ankh, you're never going to get through a brick wall. That brick wall is going to continue to exist, and it's going to continue to cause problems, and it's going to continue to not understand the information. Straight up. I think the best thing that I've done was, for me, is that's on Ankh's page. The best thing that happened for me was that I totally just started ignoring a lot of the noise for a while, and I would get some of my sanity back. I feel like I've gained some of that back. See, these people that are on Ankh's post, these are the same people that claim Black power. These are the same people that claim that they're conscious. I'm gonna let that sink in. I can't wait to get on Chill Show on the 7th. I'm gonna be on there with Dr. Cole and the Chill Nation. We're gonna put some work in. And y'all hit the like button. I got something for y'all. Hold on, let me put this on the screen.
But I think with your vaccination history, you'll be fine. Does it still make sense to wait 90 days after monoclonal before getting the booster? That's the recommendation. I think that makes sense. Yes. And we don't get sick from them. And it's a puzzle why. I think they're held in check by the immune system so they don't get out of balance and the immune system stays balanced as well. So I think that's part of the issue. But really, to be honest, we don't know. What are some of the titles in that stack of books behind Amy? So the stack behind Amy are Dixon's parasitology books.
No. But those people are pseudo. They hide themselves under the banter of Pan-Africanism, RBG, and consciousness. You can't put that on Pan-Africanism. That's not Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is not misinforming people. That's not Pan-Africanism.
So we had to clean out Dixon's office a few weeks ago because someone else wants it, and he's been out for 2 years, probably not coming back. So they're all parasitology books. And what I'm doing is, which reminds me, I have to take care of this. I'm having movers bring them down to the incubator. And we're setting up a little library area in the incubator. We're going to have bookshelves and a nice chair and a light to sit in and read. So if Dixon wants to come and read his old books, he can do that. Did you hear? RFK Jr. required proof of vaccination at his Christmas party. Okay. Why? I thought he didn't like vaccines. Only if he has to be in his family protected, right? So he's really hypocritical. Yeah. Is long COVID less likely if someone is vaccinated? So the studies that have so far come out say yes, it is much less frequent than if you're not vaccinated. It does still occur, but much less frequent. And the last clinical update from Daniel, he talked about that last week. Yeah, so I just want to emphasize that we've been pushing outcomes for a long time since we had vaccines. Once you have a vaccine, it doesn't matter who's positive. You're just chasing, what is the saying? Needles in a haystack. I don't know what, you don't need to test everybody. Can you answer these questions? Can the adenovector integrate into the genome and cause cancer later in life? No, it cannot. Because, well, first of all, it doesn't, in most cases, they don't reproduce. So there's going to be very low levels of the genome present. I mean, they do get in the nucleus, but in those cells where they get into, many of the genes are missing that would do that would cause the cell to divide, and very unlikely. You could probably force it in the lab, but I think it's highly unlikely in people because the genome isn't replicating and key genes are missing. Pros and cons of adenovirus versus mRNA. Well, the mRNAs are remarkable in that they produce very high levels of antigen, and they do very well at inducing antibodies in T cells, as we see. And if you properly space the doses 6 months, you can take care of any variant that arises. They don't block infection after 6 months, but they prevent severe disease and hospitalization and death. Not 100%, but in the high 90s or the mid 90s. So they're good. Adeno-vector vaccines can do the same, but there are some side effects of those, particularly blood clotting, because the adenoviruses bind platelet factor 4, and that triggers autoantibody and clotting. The mRNA vaccines have a low rate of myocarditis, which is treatable. The blood clotting can be severe. 8 people have died. But the mRNA vaccine myocarditis is treatable. So I think they're both good vaccines. The J&J, unfortunately, now has the severe clotting side effects. So the FDA has said we prefer that you use the mRNA vaccines, but some people have allergies to the components of the mRNA vaccines. And so for that reason, having other options in the US is a good idea, like Novavax and protein-based vaccines would be a good idea. Cases matter if people are going to end up with long COVID. No, if you, what is this going to do if you have no symptoms? You're not likely to end up with long COVID. And what does it matter if you diagnose those cases? All you know is that you have lots of infections and people close down. That's not for long COVID. That's just for protecting unvaccinated people. So I don't think so. I don't think that's correct. How long should fully vaxxed and boosted person isolate after a positive test? Yeah, I know 10 days seems excessive to me. And I agree, but that's the CDC policy. I think more likely it would be 4 or 5 days, because I don't think you're infectious beyond a day at best. And in most cases not. But hopefully this gets revised at some point. I agree with you. If an uninfected, unvaccinated person receives a first negative after testing positive, can they still be shedding? A PCR negative, I think you would like to have 2, or maybe coupled with an antigen test. Antigen is very good at determining if you're likely to be infectious or not. By the way, the free kits will need to be ordered on a website that's not existing yet. There you go. How much worse than Omicron can a new variant be? Well, I don't know how bad Omicron is. I think it's, on an unvaccinated person, it's as bad as the ancestral so far, from what I can tell. You can get severe disease and you can die, but most people getting infected are vaccinated, so they have moderate disease. In fact, if you look at the report out of South Africa, by the way, which says the infections are less likely to progress to the hospital, many of those are in vaccinated people, which is what you expect. So I think the vaccinated status confounds these kinds of studies. So I don't think it's going to get any worse. I don't think any of the variants made disease worse. I don't see any good evidence for that. I just think that we have a lot of unvaccinated people that are driving these outbreaks, and vaccinated people can be infected. They probably transmit at a very low rate, although Amy would disagree with me on that. So it's not clear to me that Omicron is rapidly spreading everywhere. It may not. We have to wait. It's going to take some time to see that. It's certainly starting to predominate in many places, right? But why would it signal the end of the pandemic? I'm not clear. It's not clear that this surge would not have happened without Omicron. I think if Delta were around, it would have done the same thing. This is a holiday-driven surge. It's not a variant-driven surge. There is no evidence. People like to think it's Omicron-driven, but there's no evidence. There's no good evidence for that. Why are some of the monoclonals not working? So the sites where the monoclonals bind a very short sequence in the spike protein. And one amino acid change is enough to prevent the monoclonal from binding efficiently. And so in Omicron, these are changed, and that's why they're not working. So I know that the GSK one lasts up to a year, still works. So that's good. And they may have to develop some others. I saw a story about the U.S. Army vaccine. They're saying it'll be effective against all variants. Yeah, so it's a protein vaccine. It's the receptor binding domain of spike. So it's not the whole spike. It's fused to ferritin, the cell protein ferritin. So ferritin binds iron normally, and then ferritin binds the ferritin receptor on the cell surface and brings iron into your cell. And so by binding it to ferritin, by linking the RBD to ferritin, it makes a multimeric particle, multivalent, which is good for improved antigenicity. And so this gives, in animal models, good antibodies, good T-cell responses. And the antibodies can neutralize all the variants they throw at it. So they're saying this should translate to effectiveness in a phase 2 and 3. That's what they mean by that. And it could very well be, but You have to do the trial because sometimes it doesn't parallel what you see in the animals. Yes, thank you. We did figure that out originally. The liver problems is from the ritonavir, right? So you don't need an integrase to integrate, right? So DNA can integrate without an integrase. That's the integrase is a retroviral protein that facilitates higher efficiency integration, but DNA can integrate. But there's not a lot of the adeno-DNA because it's not reproducing, right? Is it true that everyone's going to get Omicron or whatever? But wouldn't you have said everyone's going to get Delta last month, right? Even the vaccinated will get it. And it could be that Omicron, I don't know. I think it's still too early to tell. I don't think you can predict what these things are going to do. Something could come up, some other variant could come up, or Omicron could fail. I don't know. It may or may not. Neighbors are saying that unvaccinated people who recovered have greater immunity than vaccinated. It's different immunity, but it's not the same in all people. But if you are unvaccinated and you recover, then you get one dose of vaccine, then you have really good immunity. So that guarantees it, the one dose of vaccine. Just being infected alone doesn't guarantee that really good immunity that you will then get when you get the dose of vaccine. A family member took J&J March going for the Pfizer. Should she be fine with one taking her one single J and now her booster? So, in my opinion, yes, we don't have the data for that, but it seems to me that if you do the long dosing, that should correct for having too closely spaced doses to begin with. So I think it should be okay. Any holiday plans? I have no holiday plans other than to edit some podcasts and have dinner with my family here. And we're not recording TWIV on Friday. So today, Tuesday, do we record this week? Yeah. That'll come up on Sunday. And then next week, we're going to record on Tuesday at TWIV. But also Daniels will be doing on the 2 Thursday. So nothing very different, no, to the consternation of my family, I think. But I enjoy going to the incubator and working there and getting it in shape. And my course is over next week, 2 more lectures, so I'll be doing that as well. Whatever happened to the pan-corona vaccine? Well, so RBD has cryptic epitopes that can give rise to pan-coronavirus antibodies. And I think this is still being worked on. So the current vaccines were made quickly enough so that we could stem the pandemic. And now people are backing up and doing more research. So it'll take longer. Remember, it takes a long time usually to make vaccines. So these will eventually be tested for sure. There are also standalones that don't require ritonavir. Yeah, so the molnupiravir doesn't need ritonavir, and others are being developed. Yes. Am I considered boosted with 2 doses? So for Janssen, yes, a second dose is considered boosted. That's right. So I see all the posters say you need a second dose of Janssen at least 2 months from the first, and you need a third dose of mRNA at least 6 months from the second. Would you get on an airplane? It's 92% likely to arrive without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. But we're lucky. Polio, they're considered boosted with 2 doses. So for Jan?
Okay. For all the people out there who thought Sean was just talking, listen to what he get ready to say.
Yes, a second dose is considered boosted. That's right. So I see all the posters say You need a second dose of Janssen at least 2 months from the first. And you need a third dose of mRNA at least 6 months from the second. Would you get on an airplane? It's 92% likely to arrive without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines.
No vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only
the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. And others are being developed. So I see all the posters say you need a second dose of Janssen at least 2 months from without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. Well, we're lucky. The first polio vaccines only prevented polio 50% of the time. So that's not the right comparison. I understand without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. Well, we're lucky. The first polio vaccines only prevented polio 50% of the time. So that's not the right comparison. I understand you're trying to be dramatic, but it doesn't work that way. No, vaccines aren't that good. We're lucky they're in the 90s.
one more time, Vince. One more time, Vince. So they can fully understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. See, William, this is based on evidence. You know, that data that you kept on trying to dismiss, this is based on evidence. You talking about a solution? This is the best solution. Watch.
Would you get on an airplane? It's 92% likely to arrive without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. Well, we're lucky. The first polio vaccines only prevented polio 50% of the time. So that's not the right comparison. I understand you're trying to be dramatic, but it doesn't work that way. No, vaccines aren't that good. We're lucky they're in the 90s.
So, Vince, you're telling me that outside of these vaccines that we have, that the next best vaccine is the HPV vaccine, and all these other vaccines aren't stopping infections, you said? Did I hear you correctly? Maybe I didn't hear you correctly. Well, first of all, who is Vincent Racaniello? He's a virologist, right? He's one of the top virologists in the country. Spearheaded this, and he teaches virology. He ain't even got a teacher. He shouldn't even be doing these shows, but he does them. And he critiques evidence all day long. He spends his time in a lab. You know, that place that William said you come from up out of the lab. But that's the only way that he could find answers to questions that people ask. This ain't just a guy. This is like the guy. This is like Michael Jordan. No cap. He like Michael Jordan of virology.
Well, I agree that we want to count people who have issues, and long COVID is an issue, but I think we have to balance that with without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. But we're lucky.
Only the HPV vaccines prevent infection. So out of all the other vaccines, only this HPV vaccine prevents infection. So this whole notion of people still get COVID, you see what I'm saying? You have to stop entertaining the ignorance when the intelligence is out there and it's educating. It's not that you still can get infected, it's what happens after the fact. These vaccines prevent hospitalizations and death, and you clear it in 2 to 3 days. But people keep on saying that, but people don't never say, and Mika, I know you're listening because you're woke and you're working, you're just not commenting in the chat so you don't get blocked, or you probably can't because somebody probably blocked you and didn't unblock you. However, you don't never say people who caught COVID can still catch COVID. Why do you not say that? If you're going to say people who get vaccinated has the potential to, not that they gonna get infected, but has the potential to have a breakthrough infection at a certain percentage. You can say that in this science. But just to say people who get vaccinated still get COVID, that is not true. That's not true. But that shows your level of ignorance. However, people that actually been infected with any variant previous to Omicron are 5.34 times more likely to experience a breakthrough infection. That's 7.5 more times. It's 5.34 regarding Delta. It's higher regarding all the other variants. So someone like, Saber Wu, right? He was infected earlier in the year. Now, Omicron could infect him at a higher clip, like it ain't nothing. Even if he's another variant, if he's been infected by a different variant. And for all of those thinking that they're gaining some type of immunity, no, you're not. There's levels to it. And we continue to discuss those things. But you heard it here, and I'm going to keep playing it back because I'm going to keep making my point, and I just don't be talking out the side of my neck.
Would you get on an airplane? It's 92% likely to arrive without crashing. Well, it's not a fair comparison because no vaccine is as good as the COVID vaccines. Only the HPV, human papillomavirus vaccines, really prevent infection. But we're lucky. The first polio vaccines only prevented polio 50% of the time. So that's not the right comparison. I understand you're trying to be dramatic, but it doesn't work that way. No, vaccines aren't that good. We're lucky they're in the 90s. Well, I agree that we want to count people who have issues, and long COVID is an issue, but I think we have to balance that with hysteria. I mean, closing schools is absurd. It's absurd when the vast majority of the students are going to have mild illness. So you would argue that we're going to have long COVID in some of those. It's not clear that closing would make any difference anyway. How long does the boost benefit last? So it depends what you mean by boost benefit, but it's a good question. So do you mean preventing infection? So for 6 to 8 months, the high antibody levels you have after the boost will prevent you from being infected. So you're not going to have what they call a breakthrough. I hate to use the word, but that way you recognize it. After that, you'll be infected. But then you're not going to get serious disease because your T cells protect you against that. The question is, now that you have the boost, you can make a broader, higher affinity antibody against more variants, any variant that you see. So the question is, will that even reduce the hospitalization further than 92% because of that? Because you'll be able to get rid of any virus that comes in quicker. So I think you'll always be protected against severe disease for many years. If you want to be protected against infection, I would say 6 to 8 months. A previous SARS-CoV-2 infection will generate neutralizing antibodies, then the infected individual is vaccinated. Why these infection-induced antibodies don't neutralize the spike generated from the vaccine? Well, the spike is just a protein, so there's no neutralization. Neutralization occurs when an antibody blocks attachment of virus to cells. And so the spike protein is produced in cells, and it's chopped up and it's presented by antigen presenting cells, pieces of it. So the concept of neutralization doesn't apply there. Thank you, Mario. I will let Amy know these are for her for flowers. Do labs automatically test for Omicron? What do you mean automatically test? You mean if they get a sample, a nasopharyngeal swab, and they say we want a COVID test? So yes, they should be testing for the dominant. So Delta and Omicron, yes. With the increase in Omicron in the US, then they've been instructed to look for Omicron, yes. But if they haven't changed their primers, there can be also spike dropout, which means you don't get a band. And then that can also be an indication that Omicron is there. Will Amy be on any upcomings? I don't think yet, but I haven't put the schedule that far out yet. Should I be concerned seeing unvaccinated family who have met with unvaccinated and recently infected SARS-2 family that just tested negative before they flew over? My family is vaccinated. Well, they should. If you're concerned and you have a reason to be, you should get tested. Everyone should get tested frequently, every other day with a rapid test. I know it's expensive, but if you want to see each other, that's what you need to do. So the idea with autoimmunity, with continued boosting, is that as you drive to the maturation of the antibody response, they may end up making antibodies against your self proteins. And so that's the concern. But I think that you'd have to get to quite a few doses to do that. And I don't know what the number is. So if you're continually maturing the immune response, the somatic hypermutation that changes antibody genes could make them recognize your own proteins. Thank you, Victoria, for your contribution. I got 2 shots of Moderna in February. I got a Pfizer booster October. Will I survive Omicron? You have a 92% chance of surviving Omicron. And if you catch it early, you'll be even better off. You have no known underlying conditions. You're 40 years old, so they're not going to give you monoclonals most likely. But I think with your vaccination history, you'll be fine. Does it still make sense to wait 90 days after monoclonal before getting the booster? That's the recommendation. I think that makes sense, yes. Yes, several universities announced virtual classes. Yeah, January, Columbia too. I'm very disappointed. I wanted to teach in person. Now we're going to have to start on bloody Zoom. I would love to see you on Rogan. Yeah, it will never happen because he doesn't want to be informed. He wants hysteria and drama, which give more downloads. If Amy and I go on, people will yawn and turn it off. So you guys are all
Facts.
smart to be here. All
Facts. People just yawn, Vince. They yawn at us.
You want to hear from people who know what they're talking about, i.e. virologists. This is again about the Army COVID vaccine. The papers are all published. You can find them, Mark. They're very easy to find. Okay, Vanity's coming to the incubator on Monday. You're going to make me a turban. I forgot what for, but you can remind me. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing about this. I'm laughing about the next one. I hear recommendations of aspirating when vaccinated. Nurse who gave me my booster didn't know what I was talking about. I'm in the UK. So most shots, in some countries, they do aspirate, which avoids putting vaccine into a blood vessel, which could increase the chance of clotting. So the idea is that if you put the adenovirus vectors into the blood, they will bind platelet factor 4 and stimulate this clotting reaction. And so if you pull back on the syringe, you assure that you're not in the vein. But most places don't do that. And I think it's not clear to me that that would reduce the number of clotting issues if you did it. In the US, we don't do it. And, we have a certain rate, and I just don't. Daniel has never said that he thinks that would be ameliorated by aspirating. And, the FDA didn't say to do that in their recent recommendation. TwivTalk, yeah, that's pretty good. I think I would be sued if I used that, though, because it's too close to TikTok. But I would love to have as the title for these things, TwivTalks. Not happening, right? How about Twivlets? TwivTalk is great, Andrew. That's really good. Here we go. Boosted wife tested positive. Boosted me negative. She's barely sick. Wouldn't have registered pre-COVID. 6-year-old also. Yeah, vaccines work. They do. They do in most cases, 92% of the time, which is really amazing. Oh, yes, of course. This is from, the Marty Feldman movie, right? The Young Frankenstein, right? Yep. Virulence, we talked about that. Yes, the ferritin looks promising in the papers. It looks good. I looked at them this morning. Two viruses typically evolve to be more or less virulent. Well, I don't know of any example of more increased virulence. It's always the thing you can look at in the press and you see, the virus has become more virulent, but in the scientific literature, it's not, at least in the reputable scientific literature. So if you take my course, I will tell you viruses do not become more virulent unless that helps them transmit. Transmission is a great selector, but it's very hard to prove that inherent transmissibility of a virus increases. But it could be that if, say, the virus produces to higher levels to achieve more transmissibility, then that could cause more virulence. But I've never seen that happen, which is not to say that it won't happen, but so far we haven't seen it. Reduction in virulence makes sense to prolong the life of the host, increase transmission, but we really don't see that either. So maybe we have an opportunity to monitor it during this pandemic. So I really, I think Columbia's chicken, but mostly they're worried about lawsuits, right? That some kid will get long COVID and the parent will sue the university. That's all that's driving this decision. They will tell you, no, we're concerned about the safety of our students. We have vaccines that work. There's no need to do this. Thank you, DR, for your contribution. Is J&J plus 1 Moderna really booster or just vaxxed round 1? Well, I think so Offit said the other day the J&J was meant to be a 2-dose. And if you put them 4 weeks apart, then it wouldn't be good. You'd need a 3rd dose. But if you put the 2 6 months apart, then you're good. That's the way I'm viewing it. Thank you, Gog.
Just listen.
Stan, for your contribution.
He answering a lot of
Happy
questions.
holidays to you too. Can a normal person get a nucleocapsid antibody test to see if you had COVID? Yes. So it depends how long ago, because it could be that the antibodies have contracted below the level of detection of whatever test you're using, and then you might not see them. So you might have been infected, but it might not detect it. But it's worth doing the test. Could it be used to prove immunity? No, at this point, we can't use it to prove immunity. Thank you, Cat Vaxxer, for your contribution. Look at all those cool things. Merry Christmas, Bon Natale, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Natal, Joyeux Noël, Frohe Weihnachten. That one I can't do. Thank you both. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. So the hospitalizations are mainly unvaccinated people by far. So that's the problem, Tony. Why do we have to get our society messed up for unvaccinated people. Now, I understand the long COVID issue. I don't know quite what to do with that. But again, we're basically doing this for unvaccinated people. The hospitals are filling up because of unvaccinated people, not vaccinated people. If everyone were vaccinated, the hospitals wouldn't be filling up, okay? So this is just an unacceptable situation. Getting through the Amy comments here. Isn't the boosting just to keep damping cases till hospitals can cope? The boosting is to correct the close spacing of the first 2 doses. That's the way I look at it. That's the way it should be looked at. It should not be looked at trying to prevent infection. Because that's not going to last. And that wasn't the goal of the vaccines to begin with.
Say that again, Vince, because they be thinking your boy don't know his science.
Our society messed up for unvaccinated people. Now, I understand the long COVID issue. I don't know quite what to do with that. But again, we're basically doing this for unvaccinated people. The hospitals are filling up because of unvaccinated people, not vaccinated people. If everyone were vaccinated, the hospitals wouldn't be filling up, okay? So this is just an unacceptable situation. Getting through the Amy comments here. Isn't the boosting just to keep damping cases till hospitals can cope? The boosting is to correct the close spacing of the first 2 doses. That's the way I look at it. That's the way it should be looked at. It should not be looked at trying to prevent infection. Because that's not going to last. And that wasn't the goal of the vaccines to begin with. Could the deer have gotten COVID from mosquitoes? I doubt it, because usually viruses have to reproduce in the arthropod vector in order to be transmitted, and there's no evidence that they do so in mosquitoes, so probably not. Yeah. Isn't saying a 3rd dose giving antibody to protect against Omicron setting a standard titer for protection against the data? No, because you just don't know what the T-cell contribution is, right? No matter what the antibody titer is. And it's only, as I said, the high titer lasts for only 6 to 8 months, and then you're going to get infected, and you're going to get the same 92% protection against hospitalization, maybe more. I doubt it. But that's the question. We have to monitor disease after the boost. Can we use mRNA to vaccinate against the flu spike protein? For sure. The flu vaccine is not as good as the mRNA vaccines are against COVID, for sure, because the flu vaccines wane as antigenic variants arise for flu. They lose their ability to prevent serious disease and hospitalization. That's why we changed the flu vaccine. I would say if the current COVID vaccines lose their ability to prevent severe COVID, then we should change them. But there's no evidence that that's happening yet. CDC has those data. There's still good protection. What Omicron will do, we'll see. We don't know yet. It's too early to tell. Is it true Omicron could have arisen in a mouse? The mouse, the House of Mouse, that Disney. There is some suggestion. There's a preprint which looks at the genome that we have of Omicron. And they're very different from the other variants. They're on their own little branch of the tree. And if you look at rodent coronaviruses, the ones that have been isolated from rodents, or have been propagated in rodents, they're more similar to that, although there aren't as many of those. So yes, there is some suggestion that It could. There's circumstantial evidence. Genomic evidence, though, doesn't prove anything. You'd have to really isolate the ancestor in rodents, and I doubt that that's going to happen. So I would say it's an interesting idea with little support. I got my initial shots at a hospital-run clinic, boost at retail pharmacy, at no reaction to the first, nothing. Booster chance for lower efficacy related to storage. You're worried that they didn't store it properly. Who knows? I think that's a worry that, unless you have the proof, you really shouldn't deal with it because you're going to drive yourself crazy, right? What do you think of monopiravir? Well, it wasn't as I wish Amy would come to dinner with two crazy Brett Weinstein worshiping. So Brett is so what lecture would be a good one? Evolution and emergence. Tell him to listen to that. You had the privilege of hearing about her research in person. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. When did you do that? So Kramer tweeted that vaccine effectiveness was gone because vaccinated are having symptomatic disease. That's BS. But earlier he pointed out that phase 3 VA was for severe disease, so he's changing goalposts too. So this is the problem with Twitter. Stay away from bloody Twitter discussions because people just spew nonsense. They move out of their lanes. They speculate. And then people who don't understand think it's all gospel. And it's not.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of Twitter democratizing science, but boy, in a pandemic, what a disaster.
Sure has been.
I don't really go on and chat there anymore. Thank you so much for your contribution. You want Brienne? So Brienne will do one. Not going to be on permanently. This is Amy's show. But I think we can have a separate Q&A with Brienne sometime. They are having, by definition, mild disease. So I'm not sure you could do it. You'd have to study only unvaccinated people. If that's what you would need to do. But then even then it's flawed because now is a different population from those infected with Delta. And Delta was different from Alpha. And you can use all the fancy software you want to correct for all that, but it's not necessarily going to do it. And so very hard to do virulence projections. Now, it would be nice if you could go in the lab, but all the animal models for severe COVID are not good. So at this point, we don't have a way of getting at that. So it's not going in the textbooks, folks, at least not my textbook. Thank you. Callista, hello again. Exposed by several friends, I have symptoms, negative rapid test for 4 days. Is it possible I'm just not shedding? Yeah, negative rapid test, you're probably not making enough virus. And the symptoms may be not really COVID. Maybe there's something else. Or maybe it's nothing at all. So I'm not worried about it. I think those negative tests mean something. The Minex now is still valid for Omicron. That's correct. How did Omicron spread from South Africa if only fully vaxxed people can get on a plane? Well, it was spreading before we knew about it, right? And there are probably some means of transport where you don't need to be vaccinated. Not sure that applies to everyone. But you could be a carrier, right? One person out of the 400 on the plane could have just been exposed to Omicron. It's not replicating in them, and they carry it to New York and deposit it. Probably a rare event. We don't know. That's a good question. The Quebec government is floating the idea of asking asymptomatic healthcare workers to stay on the job if they test positive, while other provinces are considering test to stay. I think test to stay is a good idea because you have a lot of unvaccinated people in the hospital, right? And even though the chance of transmitting to them is low, I would want to be careful, especially in hospitalized people, right? Would you go along with mRNA boosters that have T-cell epitopes? Yes, but again, it's going to be a while before they get developed. It's harder and harder to develop new vaccines. Thank you, Luigi, for your contribution. 2 Pfizers, April and July. Boost January. Exposed Sunday positive today. Any advice? So I don't know what kind of test you have. If it was a PCR or antigen test, but I would repeat it in 2 days, say. And if you have underlying issues, you should seek monoclonals if you have things that would predispose you to severe COVID. But I think you're going to have mild disease because you have had 2 doses. And we know that 2 doses, even if inappropriately spaced, will still prevent you from having hospitalization and death most of the time. Not 100%, right? When you or your descendants write the SARS-CoV-2 chapter in the virology textbook, will you cover the variants? Are these important through time or just to spin us up? So far, they're not going to last the test of time. So here's, every year we have flu variants arise, right? Which are antigenic variants, and they make us change the vaccine frequently because we start to see increases in severe disease, influenza. And those don't make news, of course. And they don't make the textbook either because the only principle is that antigenic variation happens with flu. We're not quite sure. So these are certainly antigenic variants of SARS-CoV-2. And that's all we can say so far. The other properties that they have are not going in the book because they're not proven. I am not saying that they're more transmissible based on an epidemiological study that shows that there was an outbreak coincident with the discovery of a variant. That's not how science works. And I'm not sure what it contributes to public health measures either. So it's going to be a while. We're going to write the next version in 5 years, but I don't know if we're going to have the answers by then. Thank you, Westfield 90, for your contribution. Been a tough 2 years, but we stick to the science, and Amy makes me do that when I wander off a bit. Not wander off from science, but I start to speculate. She pulls me back. Thank you, Ditching. Really appreciate your support. Many viruses, about 20, really important, and we didn't do that for a long time, and that let it spread extensively. We should have started testing in December when we first heard about it, and then start isolating to try and restrict it.
Here comes some important information.
Well, I think that I would have no quibble with that, but the testing was a botch. Thank you, Ian, for your contribution. New Zealand is 91% eligible vax, which is 75% of total. I think you're probably not at the point yet where if a virus if SARS-CoV-2 were introduced, it would not spread. So you have to be careful. I'm sure you're being very careful, but I suspect you're going to have small outbreaks in the future. You can't prevent travel forever, but you can make sure people are tested and vaccinated and so forth. But you have the advantage of being an island, but you're not isolated because people come in and out. So eventually you will have infections, but it's great that you have a high percentage of vaccinated. Get more though. Thank you, Elizabeth. Really appreciate your contribution. Autoimmune condition. We answered that. Yeah. We said depends on what the bad flare is. Yep. Do you foresee that there being new updated vaccines? So
listen,
the hospitalization and death.
Listen, Ankh, and all y'all Ankettes out there. Listen to the question. Listen to the response to the question, and this will show you how how I be on that science.
Do you foresee that there being new updated vaccines? So the key is the hospitalization and death. Right now, that's staying level. If that starts to increase, so the percentage of effect, VE against hospitalization of death, when that goes below 90, maybe below 80, then we should maybe update the vaccine, not just do a booster.
Yeah, I heard what he said. He says maybe then we should update the vaccine. If it go below 80, come on, man. The boy be knowing his science, man. The boy know the vaccine science. I'm just trying to let y'all know that. Like, I really like study the data and all of that, man. When you get to looking at this information over and over and over, and you be doing it for so long, and you just be looking at key points in the research, you can find it, man. You know the important parts of it is how is this affecting, like Omicron? How is this affecting? How is it affecting hospitalization number and the death number? Because those two numbers are the most influential numbers to say, okay, everybody, we got a problem.
All right, so Brian is pretty sick. So I think, I can't remember what your original question was, but maybe it's obvious from what I was giving you as the alternatives. Our annual boosters coming. I don't think we need them. As I said, as long as the VE against hospitalization remains constant, we don't need them. How would you respond to this notion? Coworker thinks the vax are dying in equal number as unvaxxed. No, that's not true. I follow the reporting from 26 states in the US, and the unvaxxed are dying in much greater numbers than the vaccinated. That's just wrong. The chart is published every day in the Times. How long do you think before the virus evolves resistant to Paxlovid? No, it's not. It's not resistant at all. Protease inhibitors for sure select resistant variants. We use them for other viruses, and when used alone, you get resistance. There's no question about it. So I would say in a few months we're going to see resistance to Paxlovid. Okay, I said that earlier. Yeah. Is an ovine model suitable for studying vaccine effects in pregnant women and neonates? I think it's kind of far away from humans, right? And I'm not sure that it's really typically used. Sheep? No, I don't think so. I'd like to see the data, but I think not. You don't need a Omicron vaccine. The ancestral vaccine works just fine. There's no need to introduce a new one.
Say it again, Vince. Say it again. They weren't listening. They was
really
drifting off.
Typically used. Sheep? No, I don't think so. I'd like to see the data, but I think not. You don't need a Omicron vaccine. The ancestral vaccine works just fine. There's no need to introduce a new one.
One more time for the people in the back.
Really typically used. Sheep? No, I don't think so. I'd like to see the data, but I think not. You don't need a Omicron vaccine. The ancestral vaccine works just fine. There's no need to introduce a new one. Are we likely to see a more severe version? No. It will not get more severe. It has not yet. I don't believe any of the data on any of the variants. Why? I can give you 5 reports that say Delta is more virulent, 5 say it's less. They're all done in different populations with different methodology. It's a mess. It's a bloody mess. They shouldn't be publishing this stuff. They shouldn't be reporting it. Can you elaborate on how you might test positive for COVID after vaccination without being a COVID positive? So if it's a PCR test, it's a false positive. The primers are amplifying off target where there was a mistake done. You just need to repeat it or take an antigen test, which really is not as sensitive, and it tells you if you're actively replicating virus. So I think at the moment, and MITRE wants to know PCR versus antigen. PCR is very sensitive. So if you have one of these borderline infections, if you're vaccinated and you get exposed, PCR will pick up some RNA, which is not necessarily replicating, but antigen tests will be positive when virus is replicating. If virus is not replicating, it's not likely to be positive. Ideal spacing between first and second dose is 6 months, but of course you have to balance that between the risk of being infected. So if you can isolate or stay out of the public for a while, 6 months would be the best. If I have a positive PCR, does it mean I had antibodies at the time? And how is that different from rapid antigen tests? So positive PCR means you have nucleic acids. It can be very early in the infection before. Remember, you need 7 to 12 days to make some antibodies. So the PCR can be positive before that. But the antigen test will be positive because you're making viral protein. Does Omicron justify taking stronger measures in terms of PPE? No, I think we should just be all wearing face masks. You know, N95s are great if you can get them. But I would have worn them pre-Omicron. I don't think this variant or any variant had any particular ability to go through one face mask versus another. You know, N95s filter more than other kinds of face masks, surgicals or cloth for sure, but I don't think the variant makes a difference. I don't see any data that suggests that. Thank you, Jerome, for your contribution. Really appreciate it. Okay, we need to start wrapping up. Well, maybe we'll do 10 minutes more. Okay.
All right, so look, I'm gonna leave it right there. There was some valuable information right there that he got, and I wanted to give that to everybody because I felt like, you know, sometimes y'all hear me say certain things, but then when the expert said, then y'all be like, oh, okay, Sean solid on that. But I continue to say that and go back and go back and go back. Like what he basically said that these vaccines are working. And when he said the ancestral variant, he's talking about the original strand, right? That's what he's talking about. He's saying they work from that point all the way through. So it's only right that we're going to see this same thing happen or transpire in Omicron. However, what we do know about Omicron, just being honest, is that, hey, it's not as severe. It's not as severe. It's not as severe as Delta. We got a chance. It's already in the chat, Infinite. Vincent Racking Yellow. You got my book, bro. Just look in my book. If you look in my book, his name in my book. You got the book. This is why y'all get my book, What SARS-CoV-2 Taught Me. I got the boy in my book. He's solid on the solid. I'm telling y'all right now, go ahead and get y'all book, man. You get your book, I'm going to expedite the shipping for you. You just pay the standard fee. I'm going to expedite it and get it there quick. Get the book. Get the book. I need y'all to get the book. Everybody. But yeah, it's in the chat, and you know what I'm saying. You got it. So what's up, man? Before I let y'all go, what's up with the what's up? Oh, y'all ain't got nothing. All right, okay, cool. Yeah, they are. But man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Y'all enjoy y'all family, the festivities, whatever you partake in, super conscious people. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all ain't celebrating. You know what I'm saying? So we might be live over the weekend doing some little rumble. So like the show, share the show, tell a friend, and somebody go check on William, man. Make sure he in Chicago, so I need somebody to go check on William and make sure he ain't did nothing to himself after that video he did full of misunderstanding data.